how we got here. I remember the first time hearing that after moving to Korea. If you're not familiar with the sound, I'll just let it run for a few more seconds.
Breathe it in.
If you're thinking, what in the world is that? That is the sound of many cicadas singing together, right?
Yes.
Well, technically they're not singing. Technically they're getting it on.
Oh, interesting. That I did not know and did not need to know. I remember I was in the park in Hongdae, right? Because in Canada, in Nova Scotia, we don't have cicadas.
Oh, okay.
So I was in the park in Hongdae, and it was, when would it have been? August, maybe?
Yeah.
That's around the time that
Right.
they come out to play. And there was just one in a tree somewhere. You couldn't see it, right? But it was so noisy.
Yeah.
And I asked my friend, what in the world is that? And they said that is a cicada. And then I didn't see it at that time because they're hard to find it when they're in the trees.
Yeah.
But sometimes you see them other times, right? And they're huge.
Oh, they're
pretty
monsters.
big.
They're
Yeah.
huge, right? They're the size of maybe what? I don't know, 3 adult grasshoppers. They're pretty big.
Yeah, they're massive. And the reason why we played that is because in the United States, the eastern side of the United States, something is about to happen in May.
Oh, is it this year?
It's this year.
Oh, it's going to get wild.
What's this year?
They're calling it Brood X. Now,
Oh.
these are cicadas that stay underground for 17 years, and when they come up, they come up with a vengeance. Billions upon billions. They're calling it Cicada Palooza.
Oh,
It's such a perfect term, you know?
Cicada lips.
Yeah, cicada.
Cicada apocalypse.
It's just going to be massive.
I saw that in the news
Oh.
maybe a year ago or so, or maybe even 2 years ago.
They've been
'Cause
talking about
the
it for a
media.
while.
The media has been talking about this for a very long time.
wow.
The fact that the cicadas are coming back, and they're all coming up out of the ground together, right?
At the same time. And you know, the thing about this event, besides being gross and icky, it's really important to the ecosystem, you know, wherever these happen. Because these things are food for reptiles, birds, mammals, the family dog. Dogs will eat them like crazy if given a chance. Stray cats. Just about everything's fed by these things, right? So it's like a buffet.
Oh, this is going to be in the news next month for sure. It's happening in May, huh?
They think it's going to happen in May sometime.
I guess
yeah.
so. The Carolinas, they're pretty warm states in terms of weather. So yeah, May,
Yeah.
I guess, would be about the right time.
And that's when the ground starts to warm up. That's when they go, time to mate.
Why is it 17 years though?
Yeah.
Nobody knows. I mean, I read this article. It says, why are cicadas so good at math? You know, it's like, how do they know?
Yeah.
It's just something implanted in their genes, you know? So, I mean, the whole point is just like bugs are food for the world's creatures,
Absolutely.
you know? And we are creatures. And in fact, researchers stir-fried cicadas.
Oh.
And they go, yeah, it tastes like tofu
Oh, really?
because they're edible.
Huh.
You know?
Well, I mean, I was going to say almost everything is edible, but a lot of bugs are edible.
Yeah.
Hence, we see them showing up on menus these days.
That's right. You know, this whole idea of entomophagy, or eating insects, really has been a thing for human beings since the dawn of humankind. Currently, right, in our kind of Western culture-driven world, 80% of the world's population eats insects on a regular basis.
80%?
80%.
So if you don't, you're in the minority.
That's pretty much exactly it. And there are about almost 2,000 species that are edible. And they're
Whoa.
prepared in so many different ways, you know.
Have you ever eaten a bug, Kate, on purpose?
No. Oh, yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Sometimes you're on your bicycle in the summertime and there's, oops, I just had a snack and I didn't mean to.
It's like, yeah, no, not willingly. I've tried the bandegi, just the one,
That qualifies.
the silkworm, right?
Yeah.
Just the one. I felt like I was chewing cardboard, and so I was like, yeah, no, thank you. I think one memory that is just kind of seared in my mind was I came back to Korea from the United States when I went in the 90s, and I went to a buffet with my grandparents, and one of the menus on the buffet were stir-fried grasshoppers, just heaps of stir-fried grasshoppers, and I was like, oh my God, what is that? And they had to explain to me, oh, this is what we used to eat, back in the day when there was not enough food, protein and whatnot. And so they're like, try it. It's really crunchy. It's very like 고소해. Like, it has like that savory type of thing. And I was like, no, thank you. So, yeah, all in all to say no,
You
I
skipped that
did
one.
not.
Me too. On the show, I tried the silkworm larva, the pondegi, which is a roadside snack. I mean, it's not commonly eaten here in Korea. I don't think, right? Much more common in the past than these days.
Definitely.
But I didn't try one from the street side cart, which I believe has a different texture. I tried one from the can, which you can buy at like the corner store, the mart.
Oh.
Yeah, not for me.
Really?
Yeah.
What was your response?
I got one down, but it was a struggle to get it down.
Yeah, the whole bandegi thing is interesting because I used to visit Korea in the summertime as a child with my sister. And it must have been the 70s. Seoul was far more rural at that time.
Yeah.
And we'd hear like this guy ringing a bell outside and we thought,
The ice cream man.
Yeah, that's exactly what we thought. So we would run down and there was this dude's like, okay, how many cones you want? So he gave us 2 cones full of bandegi. We had no idea what it was. We thought it was delicious. It was just interesting.
Yeah.
And my mom didn't even, decide to explain to us what it was until a
Sure.
couple of summers later. She's like, don't you guys know you've been eating bugs?
See-
And it's the last time we ever talked about it.
Isn't that the thing though? I mean, if you don't know, your brain will stop you from enjoying some things
Yeah.
that otherwise you might, right?
That's right.
All right, so let's take a break. We're going to talk about the fact that bugs now commonly found on dishes, at least more common than in the past, perhaps, on dishes in restaurants, and the fact that maybe it might become even more common in the years to come. Here's the Dave Matthews Band in the meantime, Ants Marching. So, bugs, that's our topic for today. Food in this first hour. You said it's been around for a lot longer than maybe we realize.
Yeah, I mean, insects have been a part of our food supply, humans, since the dawn of humankind. But, I want to talk about this really quick. Like, we are all grossed out by eating insects, right? At least in this room. But it's kind of unavoidable, right?
Oh.
Every country has a food allowance, right? A bug allowance in packaged food.
Yeah.
So we're all bug eaters, whether we like it or not. Take, for instance, the American FDA.
Okay.
And they're kind of like, I guess, like the beacon or the symbol of what, Food and Drug Administration should be globally, right? We like tomato sauce.
Oh.
Maybe not so much after this.
Oh, really?
So a
Nervous.
100-gram jar of tomato sauce can have 10 fly eggs and 1 maggot. That's allowed.
That's allowed. Allowed by the FDA. Wow. So, I mean, I guess the point there is that it happens, right?
It's unavoidable.
Yeah.
That's the idea. And in fact,
That's not to say that every jar of tomato sauce.
it has to have 1 maggot and... No, I'm just kidding. That's the maximum limit, right? And how they regulate that, nobody knows. They must do random checks. But they're basically assuming that all of these products that get canned, jarred, packaged are going to have insect parts.
Yeah.
You may not see them. And the thing is, they're not harmful. In fact, they're just extra protein, as the cliche goes, right?
And it's inevitable with the production and the packaging.
Sure.
Yeah, it's just going to happen. So therefore, if the FDA didn't have that kind of set aside as one of their rules,
Right.
nothing would make the shelves probably ever.
That's right. And the thing is, it's in everything. You like beer, you like bugs. You like chocolate, you like bugs. Jjajangmyeon, meat, candy, everything. So and people estimate, I think it's the UN's FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization, they estimated that each human, whether you know it or not, whether you signed up for this or not, eats about a half kilogram to a full kilogram of bugs a year.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. That doesn't bother me too much at
Wow,
all.
that's a lot of
actually.
bugs.
Yeah, it's true though. It's interesting, like I don't like eel, right? And actually, I don't know if I like eel or not because I'm not. I don't think I've ever tried it.
Okay.
And the reason I'm not willing to try it is because I don't like how it looks. Isn't that odd how the human brain works?
Yeah.
Like sometimes if you don't like how something looks, then you're completely not willing to try it.
Right.
Which I assume is a large part of the reason why people, when they think, oh, bugs on a plate or trying, grasshoppers at a buffet or something like that, the natural response is like, ew, yuck, no.
This has been tested, and our preferences are in our mind and in our noses. Long before anything enters our mouths, we've made up our mind whether we like it or not, just like the eel example. So it kind of makes sense. But think about this. We've been intentionally eating bugs since the dawn of humankind. We have written records from classical civilizations talking about bugs. Aristotle, right? He was a smart dude. Back in 320 BC, he wrote, and I quote, "The larva of the cicada, on attaining full size in the ground, becomes a nymph. Then it tastes best before the husk is broken." I mean, they're describing when you need to eat the cicadas prime. The ancient Romans soaked, what were they soaking? Beetle larvae in flour and wine to plump them up. Kind of like their foie gras, I suppose. The Bible has a list of insects you should eat. Yeah. It's like the Bible diet, right?
But now that's, historically, or if you look at a country's past where citizens of the country needed sustenance, right? They needed protein and calories in their bellies. That makes sense. But nowadays, the comeback is for a different reason, right?
It is. The comeback is for the very reason why insects died off in the first place. The vast majority of the planet has been eating insects since we knew how to make fire. But in the northern areas, like Northern Europe as an example, not as many insects live there to begin with. Then they started agriculture, raising cattle, and insects, if there were the enemy. They were the pests.
Right, because they're going to eat what you planted.
Yeah, so insects never really caught on as food up there. And thus, when Europeans settled in North America, that never, meat translated, but not bugs.
That makes so much sense,
Wow.
right? Because if you were in an area of the world where the weather allowed you to plant crops, where you could grow different vegetables, then the bug would be the thing that would eat the plant.
That's right.
And it wouldn't even occur to you that could be sustenance for me too. That would occur to you to say, I need to get rid of this thing because this is a threat to my physical being.
Yeah.
And they're icky because they're bugs.
Exactly, yeah. We'll continue on with the bug chat today on a Monday afternoon in hour number 2. To finish up the first, it's Migos Stir Fry. All right, so let's get back on our topic of bugs.
Right.
Angelina Jolie is somehow related to this topic.
Well, before we were talking about how insect eating has been a part of our long tradition as a human race, right? But moving forward, we're going to have to start incorporating bugs because food security, right?
And that's what I meant sorry to interrupt, that's what I meant when I said in the first hour that, maybe the bugs are making a comeback to the plates these days for a totally different reason than they were, a long time ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, a long time ago. Actually, the recent past, it's not that long ago, people ate locally, right? Whatever you grew in your area, whatever you raised in your area, you ate. But now we're in this era of Western fast food globalizing, right? So people all over the planet are eating essentially the same thing, right? So
that's an interesting point, yeah.
Yeah, so it's fast, it's cheap, and it's affluent. Right? That's what people aspire to, right? So what that means is land use is really just destroying the soil because never mind the meat that we're raising on all this land, we need even more land to grow the crops that feed the meat that we eat.
Never mind the amount of water that we need too, right?
Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So it's highly inefficient. So right around the mid-2000s, I don't know if you guys remember this, suddenly celebrity chefs were talking about cricket chocolates. They started slow and small.
Yeah.
But then more and more, all of these people started to eat bugs. Celebrities like Angelina Jolie. So right now, I want you all to listen to Angelina enjoying a delicious fried tarantula.
Oh, no.
Let's listen.
Oh, Angelina, no!
Hello. You want to share a spider? Hot? It's actually really good, the flavor. It's nice. Huh? I can see why you're into this. It's hard to chew, the scorpion.
Dried chips.
Like chips, yeah. Some
Yeah,
chips
like
inside.
flavorless chips.
Yeah, just like salt and vinegar chips.
Nacho cheese
exactly
scorpions.
the same.
Yum, yum, yum.
I've heard of that before. I refuse to watch any like YouTube videos, travel videos of people trying tarantula. I just can't. I can't look at it.
I'm going to tell you right now, I'm kind of scarred permanently after watching that video. With this lifeless tarantula that's really quite large. And here's the lovely Angelina Jolie. Oh, it's quite good.
Thanks for the description.
Oh, no problem. I'll act it out better next time.
Act it out. Yeah, right.
But you got to ask yourself, why was she doing this? You know? And she's a UN special envoy, right? So she's trying to get the word out about feeding this ever-growing planet with bugs because that's just the natural choice. It really, really is.
This is an extreme example, though, right? We're not talking about tarantulas on a daily basis here for breakfast in your cereal, but we are talking things like
tarantula bits now with extra chocolate,
grasshoppers, and different bugs that often ground up in powder form too, right?
Yeah.
That's hugely popular, and that's one of the things because. Crickets, as an example, are super, super nutritious. They have a better fat to protein ratio than beef does. Some more protein per fat, right? They have zinc, iron, selenium, phosphorus. Monounsaturated fats like we find in avocados, omega-3 fatty acids. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them except that they're icky.
It's just got to be put into a form that's acceptable for people's palates.
Right.
Sure.
We'll take a break.